Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what day trading opportunities we may have today. You're going to see my strategy and my technical analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. We're going to start here on the daily chart. At the top here is EU, at the bottom is DXY. So what can we see on the daily? Yesterday you can see we closed out with this massive bearish candle after a few days of what looked to be deceleration. Obviously the inverse on DXY, we had some deceleration here at the lows and we had this big bullish close, right? As I mentioned in my previous video, we have an imbalance above the imbalance beneath here. So I believed it was possible we could pull back up to this area, which we have. We've spiked into it today again, but it isn't fully filled yet. However, that is an imbalance on the daily and we've come into it. What else can we see? Our previous daily highs and lows on both. You can see the previous daily low and previous daily high on DXY has been swept. Currently, we seem to have been rejecting that area. What that means is on EU, we've taken sell side liquidity, and on DXY, we've taken buy side liquidity. So other than that, we've pulled up into more of a premium on DXY and more of a discount on EU. So let's go down to the intradays, onto the 4 hour, and get a better picture. On the 4 hour, what are we seeing? Well, you see the bearish run from the previous day. We are still within our bullish leg on the 4 hour. We are now within this 4 hour order block. Bearing in mind, of course, we still have a POI below price here, which may eventually get filled. I'm not saying that it's the target for today, but it's something to be aware of, that we still have more downside potential. We still have more downside potential here, and also over here with another order block beneath this previous weekly low. So at the moment we are in a POI. We are within our bullish leg, but you can see internally now we've broken this low. So we'll see that clearly on the 1 hour. We've made a lower high and now a lower low internally. We had this bearish momentum. We've left an imbalance, which could be a draw on price to fill. So a pullback possibly from this POI area. Moving on to DXY, we have done the same. You can see internally we've broken that previous high there. We've had this bullish run. We've come into a 4 hour POI. Now our POIs aren't matched at the moment. I'll get into that. But we're in a 4 hour POI. We've taken buy side liquidity and we're in a buy side liquidity POI. We've left an imbalance and order block below in the discount of this new internal leg, which is a draw on price now for price to fill the imbalance and seek out a discount, and vice versa obviously with EU, like I said. So onto the mismatch, you can see we've got this low here, high low here. It's respecting this order block so far. That's showing strength on EU, that's showing respect here. However, this same low, which is on this side here on DXY, we've broken above it. So high high and a high low. So if this is making a high high, that should be making a lower low, but it's not, which showing some strength on EU, which may be providing, along with the other confluences of the order blocks and the POIs, a reason for a pullback and sponsoring a pullback to possibly fill this imbalance and move back into a premium POI. So that's everything on the 4 hour. Let's go to the hourly, where we'll get to see our intraday picture even more. Now I think the hourly picture is quite clear. As we see, we blasted through this POI yesterday after some news announcements around 12:30. This was not respected. I still have it here for now just to have mentioned it. We have created a new lower low below this low, as I mentioned on the 4 hour. Now let's see this now as the lower high, lower low, right? We have this leg here. We have there's imbalances all the way through this leg due to the momentum, and we have our order block POI at the top here. So price has the potential now to, let's say, use this leg and come into a premium somewhere up here, possibly even all the way up here to the order block, the source of the break of structure, right? Let's remove that. We can see there was the SMC divergence that I mentioned in yesterday's video, where I said it showed strength on DXY. Wasn't sure how far that strength was gonna, pull us back to. We still had this 4 hour POI and this POI here. We obviously went beyond this 1 hour order block, which we are within on EU. Hope I'm not going too fast. we are within this 1 hour order block on EU. That is where our high lows currently being made and where we have this divergence. Now the divergence has obviously swapped sides and is showing strength on EU today. So there's our SMC divergence showing some strength on EU within this order block, which is giving us some confidence and bias to go long today up into this premium somewhere. We have taken the sell side liquidity of the previous daily low, of course, and on DXY we are within our 4 hour POI, which is above the previous daily high as well. So we've taken buy side liquidity there, and we have our discount POIs and draw on price down in the discount. So I think we have a picture today to have a bias to go long if longs present themselves up into a premium area or our next buy side liquidity target on the lower time frame. I think the 1 hour is very clear. You can see after filling this 4 hour fair value gap, it sponsored a move back to wipe out all this buy side liquidity above these previous highs. And then we finally broke down later on in the day to come back to the real discount POI, which I mentioned in my previous video as well, which looked possible. Price obviously has room to go a bit further. There is a 1 hour order block in POI above price here. But again, we have our confidences, we have our divergence, and I believe now we've created a bias for the longs. So let's go down to the M15 and see if there are any opportunities that look possible for today. So onto the M15 here. I don't see anything immediately. Obviously we went below the previous daily low. We've created a structure here at the lows during Asia. Asia created a structure, and then London into Frankfurt, we've just moved up rather correctively. There's been no real momentum, and now we're above Asia highs. There'll be some internal buy side liquidity above here, so we see what happens there. But what I would need and would have preferred is these lows to be swept, and then we see momentum to break to the upside. Price isn't moving very well. We have news today later on. It's a red folder news. I'm not sure how much impact it's going to have, but it'll have movement. So I don't believe there'll be much trading for me in New York. Fridays in general, in the afternoons for New York, it kind of dies down. But perhaps that news will create the volatility because we don't have any at the moment. I think for the longs, this is on the M15 chart, but for the longs, I probably need to see price come back down and take out these lows. That would be great. And then obviously if we had some structure and break above that structural high internally here, and then pull down to the lower time frame POI to continue that run. Just because we want to move with liquidity, we want to see liquidity, swept, give us some momentum. Even though we are in this POI, I don't see any momentum coming here, leaving behind a nice order blocking imbalance. Obviously we have one down here at Asia lows, but if price comes down to here, why would it not just sweep these relative equal lows to sponsor the move higher? We may get a reaction from here, and obviously it's very possible that price can create a structure today. It can mess around here for a little while, create a structure, maybe suddenly get momentum, right? And then we get our pullback to go higher. Something like that could happen. But that's just, a prediction of the future. We're a bit in the middle of nowhere. I want to see some lows get swept. I want to see some sell side liquidity get swept. So that would be what would need to happen here, and see some momentum come out. So although I have the bias to go long today, there isn't any clear opportunities at the moment, unfortunately. So bias is clear, entries and whatnot, not so clear. If I was looking for shorts, then I'm waiting until up in this area. We have some nice POIs and imbalances, especially at the top here. For example, I'll just put this square here. We have our 1 hour POI. I don't know if we'll make it here today. Maybe news will take price up here. But of course, again, we want price to come up into here, create a structure, sweep it, break down, and then come back to a low time frame POI to possibly continue that move. Now, something I just want to make us aware of, let's go to the hourly. Yes, we have this hourly leg that looks like a bearish leg. We have these POIs below that price may want to go to. So in the meantime, it may pull back to the premium before going to those. However, we need to be aware, if we go to the 4 hour, that we are still bullish on the 4 hour. Price could still respect here and continue our trend. Right? Price may come down a bit lower and satisfy these, but I don't believe we've switched trend just yet. So we may see more bullish strength than you anticipate, given we've got an internal bearish leg, because that 1 hour bearish trend can just be a pullback on the 4 hour, right? So just something to be aware of. I don't believe we're now bearish and we're going to come for all of these lows down here, but I'd say temporary bullish, possibly bearish from this 1 hour area once we get there. But even then, it's just waiting for that structure to shift on the lower time frame on the M15 here. We're still going to be waiting for that structure to shift and see what price does again at these lows. I think that's it for today. There's no clear opportunities being made by the price action right now, so we're going to have to be patient. I hope you gained value from that. Anything you want to ask me, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.